Hello everyone. This week I just have a brief update and a quick announcement. Now first off that announcement, what I had planned for Antilia 0.5 and 0.6 was that Antilia 0.5 was going to be the structure editor and then 0.6 was going to combine the structure editor into the gameplay system so it actually became a gameplay element. What I'd like to do is instead of next week doing our 0.5 release, I want to merge these two together. There's just so many interrelationships between the two that it doesn't make as much sense as I thought it would. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I do have a 3-day weekend. I could almost certainly put together an editor, but I don't think it would really highlight the capabilities of the systems very well, especially until we have the Lantros building tile set, which there's been a bit of just kind of some questions that it raised, which I'll get into here in a moment. So just as a quick project status update, what I've been working on this week, the first thing that came up was when I got into the building system and I started to make the Lantros tile set, I discovered that the way it was done previously, the way the current style system worked, was it was all hard-coded in the actual source code itself, were all these links to textures and meshes and such. So this week I had to spend a little time separating all that out and building a moddable system whereby each building style could have just a file that's provided, and that sets all the tiles and all the textures and all that. The second thing I did this week was to put together a few meetings that are probably just a bit overdue. Next week I've got a developers meeting. We're going to get the development team together. It's been a while since we did that. And of course, the Patreon supporters who supported, I think, at the $3 level or more, you'll be invited to join in and listen in live. And then this week I worked on, as well, starting the Lantros tile set. And that's where we ran into our little design snare, I would say, a little hiccup. I discovered as I started to build the tiles that with these structure tiles, they're very much just kind of like flat walls and flat floors. It's really the texture that makes these surfaces shine, that really makes them pop and look good. And we definitely, on the dev team, we have not yet tackled or found a good solution to how we generate textures for Antilia. So this week I've been putting a lot of thought into it. I've tried out a few procedural texture generation tools. I've been just kind of grabbing some of the art materials I have and creating some basic brush type textures that we could use. We've come to the conclusion we don't want to use photo textures, not just directly. We don't want to just take a photograph and slap it on a wall and Antilia. I don't think that would look very good, especially considering the characters are not photographic. To introduce photorealistic elements, I don't think will look very good. There's a few questions with the dev team that we're going to have to sort out as far as if we're using a normal mapping, if we're using offset mapping, that sort of thing. But I think that's going to come up in next week's meeting. So that's going to wrap up this week's episode. I hope you'll tune in again next week and we'll check out what solution we come up with for creating textures in Antilia. So see you then. A special thanks to this month's Patreon supporters. If you'd like to support the project, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/Antilia.